Hey everybody, good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar on how to personalize your engagement with digital marketing. I'm Aishwarya and I'm a product marketer for Zoho Marketing Hub. And in today's webinar, we'll be discussing about how to analyze your web visitors' actions, their interests and behavior on the website as soon as they enter your website. Moving on, we'll be seeing how to convert your web visitors into leads by using a very powerful tool called Smart. Post that, I'll be introducing you to two important concepts called goals and missed goals, with the help of which we will actually track the performance of the different visitors who land on your website and who perform activities on your website. After that, we'll take a look at purchase abandonment, which is again a very important section when it comes to doing sales on your website. So after all this, the last and the most important part of today's discussion would be personalized journeys, where we will see how to obtain the web behavioral data and put that data into use using personalized journeys. So let's get started. So before we move on to the actual concept, let's brush up some basics. So in this digital marketing world, all of us know that website is a very powerful channel. And when asked simple question of what a website is, these are some of the responses that we might naturally get. So a website is a medium or a connector between your brand and your audience. This is definitely true because an audience tries to engage with your brand only through a website at the first level. The second being used for capturing audience's attention. And that's the reason most of our web pages might contain a lot of enticing CTAs, a lot of good content and a lot of attractive images so that we grab the attention of the visitor who enters the website. The next should be, it helps people to know more about your brand services. This is definitely true because if your brand is providing a couple of services, all of your services and products will be listed on your web page, which means a visitor who enters your website will automatically understand what your brand is featuring for them. The last but not the least, it makes people purchase. So yes, your website all the more makes people complete transactions, purchase products. So these are some of the explanations that we might give for website as a channel. But do you think we are missing out somewhere? Do you think we're missing out a very important point? Yes, we're actually missing out a very important point when discussing about a website. And that point is data. If you had seen the previous slide where we would have described what a website is, let's go back to see those points. In every point, there is no relation to the amount, the wealth of information that a website could provide to the person who in turn, engages with the website, be it the visitor or the brand owner. So let's do a quick activity. Instead of defining website to be a very vague term, as given this slide, let's quickly put forth all of these in terms of data because website as a channel is very rich in data and gives you a lot of data based on what your visitors do on the website. So let's quickly rephrase those sentences that we were discussing as to what a website is. So in terms of data, one can view websites as the primary interaction point in an audience's engagement journey because when a visitor lands on a website, there are a lot of things a visitor does. Visitor A can click a button, visitor B can visit a different page. So each of this interaction is different and each of their journey is different. So each path is going to give you enough information about that particular visitor. So the next point is let's create an impact about your brand. So there is a difference between influencing your visitors or your leads and impacting your visitors or your leads. So one might think that the enticing content might go a long way in building relationships with your leads. But actually, it depends on the impact that you create. So your brand should try to focus on what exactly these leads or visitors want to achieve or what exactly the challenges are. And your brand should be as a solution to their challenges. So it should rather impact them rather than trying to influence them with clickbait content or clickbait buttons. The next step is going to be building better relationships with people. So this automatically says that websites should not only act as a medium between a brand and the visitors. Rather, it should help the visitors know more about what the providing for them. And in turn, this plays a long way in building better relationships with these people. The last point is going to be about closing more purchases. So it is not about how many people make purchases on the first attempt, but rather you might have people who miss out on a lot of your purchases in the first moment. So it is capturing those people and trying to re-engage with those people and getting them on board is where the important part lies.
So this is the right way through which we view website as a channel that gives us a lot of information. So now that I talk a lot about data, you might immediately have the next question of how to utilize this data. How do I even capture this data in the first place? That is exactly what we'll be discussing right now. So behavioral science is a technique that is going to help you capture all of this data properly. And it not only helps you capture, rather it helps you organize this data in the most efficient manner. So when you look at, behavioral science, it is nothing but just tracing the kind of activities your visitors do as soon as they land on your website. It's like mapping their entire journey from the minute they land on your website to every action they perform to finally what goal they achieve on the website and what you've set for them. So that is what behavioral science is. So if you see the following mission, you might see that a visitor lands on the website and is trying to make some kind of interaction with your website elements. And a particular person, say a marketer, is observing these activities of the visitor and is trying to capture all of this information and try to, sort of derive meaning out of this information. And using this information from the website, they are planning their further engagement activities. So that exactly is what behavioral science lets you do. So what kind of data can you get from behavioral science? This is a very important question to address. So there are some times that you might have found yourself asking these following questions to yourself or your team. Like, what my visitors land on my website? Or, what kind of activities they perform on my pages as soon as they land? And what are the things that you're missing out on my website? Assuming I say have a sign up form on my page, and the people who land on my page might not look at the sign up form and they might, just move past the form. So they're missing out a very important, a key thing on your website. So sometimes you might wonder as to what made them miss these elements. Why did they miss these elements? So why have they not performed these activities? And have they completed any purchases, or why have they not completed the purchases? So these are some of the questions that might keep running in your mind as a marketer. And behavioral science is like a boon because it gives you answers to all of these questions. So once you get all of this, answered, so once you get enough data to address all of these questions, the next thing that you might ask me is, I have the data, but what do I actually do with it? So we know that behavioral science is giving us a lot of data and we now know how to use that data. But we need to know, how to organize the data and use it in a proper manner. That is exactly what web behavioral marketing from Zoho Marketing Hub lets you do. So with the amount of data that you collect from your website, for which we have specific tools and features, which I'll be covering in the demo, once you get the data, you can use that data for, say, segmentation, where you can actually know what kind of people are interested in a specific page of yours and what kind of people are interested in another page of yours. Say, what kind of people are interested in your pricing page and what kind of people are interested in your product page. So this makes you follow up with those specific people in a very targeted manner because now you know what their specific interest is. So you know what kind of content that you need to be sending to them. Ideally, it lets you send personalized content as well. Also, once you know what kind of information that these people require, you can also add personalized content to your website, which means when you have, say, ebooks or guides or a lot of these downloadable materials on your website, you can make sure that you put a lot of information on the website based on what is frequently searched for on your website or what is frequently accessed on your website. And this makes sure that your content is always live and your content is always relevant to the people who actually come to your website. The next point it lets you do is complete purchases. So as I was telling you earlier, it is not only going to help those first-time purchasers, but with website data, with web behavioral marketing data, you can actually retarget those people who missed out purchasing your product the first time. go retarget them and try to, bring them on board back and help them complete their purchases. So this is where purchase abandonment comes into play. The next step is going to be microfunneling. So this is a very important concept that one should know. So when you take an example of a website, we might have a lot of visitors who visit the website. And ultimately, the goal of a marketer is to convert as many visitors as possible into leads. So this by itself creates a small microfunnel where our aim of the microfunnel is to convert a visitor to a lead. Likewise, once you know the specific requirements of these visitors who come to your website, you naturally know what kind of goal you want to set and achieve with every set of people who visit your website, which means you can create multiple microfunnels for the website, multiple microfunnels that addresses people of different categories, people of different segments, and make sure that you always provide the right engagement that every visitor needs as soon as they engage with your brand. So this is exactly what web behavioral marketing lets you do. And for that question of how to use the data, which I've showed you in the previous slide, I'll let you know how personal journeys from Zoho Marketing Hub lets you combine all of this data. And as I was telling you in the previous slide as to how you can segment, how you can target people with personalized, all of this is possible with the help of personalized journeys, which is specifically created, for a category called web engagement. So in Sales Marketing Hub, we have given you a specific category called web engagement, where we have made sure that all of the website data that you collect using Marketing Hub is put to good use, where you can create nurturing journeys based on this data. So when I'm doing the demo, I'll give you an extensive look into each of these journeys so that you will understand how to use that data that you've collected using Marketing Hub into good use so that your engagement is completely personalized. An advantage for you to use a personalized journey is that every step in the personalized journey is defined with a message that is going to help you understand what that step is used for. See, in this given example here, you can see that every step is clearly defined by a message, which is, giving what exactly you need to do with that particular step. Say if it's sending an email, what kind of email should it be in that particular stage of flow? So you can relevantly tailor your message and then set up the flow journey to be active. So now that we have seen what kind of data websites provide and how to organize this data and what are the different things you can achieve with this data that you have collected, let's actually get into action and see how to perform web behavioral marketing with Zoho Marketing Hub. So before I move on to the product, let me quickly take an example of Zilker. So today's demo is going to be based on a company called Zilker. So Zilker is an event management company which is organizing a lot of these trade shows, meetings, conferences for a lot of companies in today's market. And Zilker is a leader in its space because it's been in the industry for a very long time. And apart from event management, for the couple of other companies, Zilker is also hosting its annual user conference, which is well known in the industry and which is attended by a lot of experts in the industry. So right now, Zilker is having a couple of goals. So let me list down those goals quickly so that I will show you how to realize web behavioral marketing for these Zilker goals. The first goal of Zilker is to make sure that whoever visits the website should automatically register for their upcoming event, upcoming user conference. So that is their primary goal. Apart from hosting this event, Zilker is also having a new content team that is working on a lot of research papers these days. They're also working on high-level content and they're putting out periodic content on their event best practices page, which is a fairly new attempt from Zilker. So right now, their goal is to promote this page as much as possible and to make sure that people download the content that they create with so much of effort. So this is going to be goal 2 for them. So assuming the goal 2 is going to be make somebody get the checklist, make somebody download the checklist from their event page, which is from their resources page, which is a very new attempt. The last goal of Zilker is to make sure that as many people contact them from the home page as possible. This is because they have an expert support team working on handling a lot of requests. So right now, with a website like this, Zilker is all the more, looking out for realizing these goals. So let's move on to Marketing Hub to see what kind of web behavior marketing we can do for this specific goal of Zilker. So this is the dashboard of Zoho Marketing Hub. And let me quickly, take you through the dashboard where it is completely customizable. So you can actually get to choose what widgets you want to see on the dashboard and what you do not want, so that all of your information is available at, just one glance. And you can just go there and customize the complete look for yourself by just dragging and dropping different elements and, clicking save. And the view is going to change for you. And here you can select the time interval that you would like to see the data for, say 30 days or say 60 days or even 90 days. You can just, set the time interval based on what you want to see here. So today's webinar is going to be focused on this section called as website, because this is exactly what we'll be doing with web behavioral marketing. So let me quickly show you how to get started with connecting your website. So this is the primary step that you need to do. So here is where you enter your domain name and try to connect your website with Marketing Hub. And here is where Marketing Hub provides you a code, and you're supposed to add this tracking code to your website to the pages that you want to track, whether it's going to be specific pages or whether it's going to be all the pages on your website. So assuming I give a sample domain like this called abc.com and I say proceed. So since it is already existing, it is asking me, should I reactivate the automation? I say go ahead. So here it is going into the domain as soon as I add, and all I want is the code which I want to add on my script, on my page. So this is the code that I need to be adding on my website. So I copy this code and go and add on the pages that I want to track. So it's important to remember that this code needs to be present on your pages for you to track, for Marketing Hub to track the visitor actions happening on those pages. So please make sure that you add the tracking code to the pages that you want to be tracked. So next step is going to be validating. So as soon as you enter the code, it's important for us to validate the domain, because we need to see if the code has been added properly and if the tracking actually starts properly. So the next step would be to validate the code, to validate the domain to which you've added the code. So now that we have spoken about Zilker, in order to show what kind of goals you can achieve with Zilker and what kind of web behavioral marketing activities you can set for Zilker, I am just taking you through Zilker domain, which we have set here. So as I showed you in the dashboard, you can select the time interval. Say if you want the last 180 days, you can just select it from the drop down, and this task is going to give you the particular view for which you select on top. So total visits is going to give you all the people who website in the specified time period that you have selected. Known visits is based on whether these people have already submitted their information with you. So assuming you have a lot of these lead generation tools like sign-up forms and pop-up forms, then people submit their information to you. They automatically become a known lead, so they come under known visits. Anonymous visits are people who are visitors who have not still submitted any information to your brand through your website, but passively trying to engage with your different pages by traversing through your pages. New visitors and returning visitors, as the names say. New visitors are people who come to your website for the very first time, and returning visitors are people who are returning to your page n number of times. So let's now understand, let's come back to the dashboard as soon as we set different web behavioral marketing elements so that you can collectively view the report on the dashboard. So next section that we'll be seeing is the pages section. So as soon as you add the tracking code to different pages, the pages will automatically be listed here. So you can take a quick glance of all the pages to which you've added the code here. Another option that we've given you is to mark the page as important. So if you think that this page is specific page that you constantly want to track and carefully want to keep an eye on, you can just mark the page as important. Upon marking the page as important, the page will be marked with the red sign and it will be brought up on top so that you do not have to sit and scroll to the end of the page to track the particular page that you always want to track. So as soon as you mark them as important, all of these would be pinned for you for easy access. So this is all about the pages section. Another important section that I want to explain in the primary step is this section called setup. So anytime you want to, make edits to your code or want to copy the code and paste it to another new page on your website, the tracking code is always available here. You can come to the setup tab and copy the code. If you also want to put up a banner, a cookie banner that tells people that you're constantly tracking their activities via a cookie, you can always choose to display the banner. If you do not want the banner, all you have to do is just click this toggle button and it's going to ask you whether to remove, and you can give remove, and this banner will automatically be removed. If you again want it, you can just click the toggle button and the banner would be applied accordingly. Another important section that you should be doing in the preliminary stages of setting up your behavioral marketing is alias domain and traffic filters. So alias domain might differ from industry to industry. So there are specific companies that use altogether different domain as an alias domain. And there are specific companies that maybe uses different servers such as a EU server or a US server as a specific domain. So it's up to the specific company or a specific industry to add the particular alias domains that they are using. If they want the same tracking code to apply for their alias domain as well, then they can add the same code to the alias domain by including the alias domain here. So assuming for Zilker, the alias domain that I want to add is zilker.in, then I can add that and save it here. So my alias domain will be added and the same code will be applicable to this alias domain. Traffic filter is, when you want specific people, when you do not want to track the activities of specific people on your website, then you can set up a traffic filter. So assuming Zilker doesn't want to track the activities of Zilker's own people, that is company, the people belonging to Zilker company trying to, go to their page and traverse through their pages. So there might be a lot of Zilker's own people accessing their website on a daily basis. And Zilker doesn't want to track, the activities of these people, but want to track only the activities of people outside of your company. So in this case, for example, they can include the IP address of their specific company so that they can, try to exclude people of belonging to this particular IP address. Or assuming Zilker doesn't want to, see the stats of people belonging to India, then, they can give Zilker in-house people, and they do not want to see people from India, then they can select country as India and click activate. So basically, the stats that will be displayed here for Zilker domain will not include any of people who visit Zilker site from India. So it is as simple as this, and whenever you want to pause any specific filter, you can just go there and click pause and it will be stopped for you. So these are some of the preliminary steps that you need to be doing before you set up your pages for tracking. So let's actually move on to those 3 goals that I was telling you, right, about Zilker, where the goal was to get as many people to sign up for their upcoming user conference and to see how many people are clicking the contact us button on the home page. And finally, their best practices initiative where they want to see how many people are downloading their content. So let's go back to Marketing Hub to see how you can set these things up. So this is the first step that you need to be doing. So what are events? So events are, tools that will help you track how many people interact with your web actions. So you might have a lot of web actions. In case of Zilker, the contact us button on the home page was a web action. The register now button on their page was a web action. So likewise, every website by itself has a lot of web actions, has a lot of activities. And it is important to see how many people engage or interact with these actions. And that is exactly what events will let you do. So there are 2 types of events. One is you can directly, load your web page and pick and choose the action to which you want to add the event. You can generate a JavaScript and add those script to the elements manually on your website. So let me quickly take you through this first, and then we'll move on to that. So in my case, I want to select people who specifically land on this website, on this particular resources page or the best practices page. So I go to this and I select this and I give say Zilker checklist, which means people who download the checklist on the best practices page. And I'm loading this page here. So as soon as the page loads, my specific goal is to understand how many people, click this checklist. So what I do is I specifically click on that web action that I want to be tracked for, and I go down and click save. So as you can see, it's as simple as this. Now this particular event is created. So whoever is going to go to Zilker website hereafter and try to click and download the checklist, automatically the tracking starts and the event stats is going to start appearing here. And as days pass, you can always click the interval from the drop down and always view the consolidated report here. It's important to know the difference between what a known and an anonymous visitor is. As I was telling you earlier, a known visitor is somebody whose information is already available on your Zoho Marketing Hub database, which means that they are a lead and automatically their email addresses would be listed in the lead-based report section. Assuming they are just a visitor who have not submitted their email address with you, they would still be considered anonymous, and their account, even if they click 10 times on your checklist and download it, it would still be given as anonymous because they have not given any information to you in prior. So this is exactly how you set up elements, how you set up events for different web actions. Likewise, let me quickly take you through the contact us event that we created, for the contact us button that was there on the home page. So here it shows the number of people who have interacted is 3, and all 3 of them were anonymous. So basically all 3 of them are people who have not given their information to Zilker earlier. So likewise, you can identify those actions on your website that needs to be tracked, and you can create multiple events those actions. The next important concept that we should be discussing now is goals. So I know that every brand wants to understand, wants to track the website actions on their website, but what exactly is a goal? So goal is one step ahead where you can achieve, you can set different aims on your website and see how many people achieve those aims. So a goal or an aim can be as simple as, say, downloading an ebook, or it could be generating more traffic. It could be anything. In case of Zilker, it was getting more people to register for their upcoming user conference. So what Zilker would do is Zilker would create a goal for this specific purpose. So maybe let's go into the event registration Zilker goal. So here if you see, the goal is going to be targeting the visitors who are both new and who are both returning. So both returning visitors will be targeted, and these visitors are coming from a specific channels of social media and email. And their source can be any source. In case of social media, they can come from any source: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. They can come from any source. And the goal criteria is they should perform this event, which is nothing but registering for the upcoming user conference. So as soon as they register for the upcoming user conference through the event page of Zilker's website, the lead score of 10 is added, which means Zilker is assigning a score of 10 to people who have registered as registrants for the upcoming user conference. So this is a goal. So ideally, what Zilker is doing is it is identifying those people who achieve the goal and try to congratulate them or try to qualify them by giving them a score. So let's quickly look at creating a goal from scratch so that you understand how to set up different items inside a goal creation. So in my case, Zilker also has another goal of getting more people download checklists. So Zilker's checklist download becomes another goal. So Zilker checklist is going to be my name and what type of visitor I want to track. So in my case, I want to take both because Zilker's best practices page is relatively a new page, and a lot of new visitors might also come and a lot of returning visitors might also come. So what I'm doing is I'm going to target both of these people, whoever land on that page first. And the channel is going to be specific channel. So what I'm doing is I'm promoting this page on social media a lot. So I want to see how many people come to this page via social media channels. Likewise, I'm also sending emails to people about this page creation, about Zilker's new best practices page. So I'm also giving email as one of my channels. And likewise, I'm also promoting it through SMS. So I am giving SMS as a third channel. And as for source of visit, I'm keeping it any source because I'm interested in people of any source downloading the content. If you want to be specific about sources, then you can pick and choose what kind of social media source or what kind of a specific email marketing campaign that you want to target. In my case, I'm going to give any source. And what is going to be my goal criteria? My goal criteria is going to be visits the resources page. So somebody who visits the resources page and who performs this particular action of downloading Zilker checklist and performs on a specific page, and then I say perform on the resources page. So once I select this, automatically when people achieve this goal criteria, they would be marked as goal achieved. So for somebody who visits the page, you can also give for somebody who visits the home page directly, and then somebody who comes to this specific event best practices page and clicks this checklist and downloads this checklist. So automatically when somebody performs this goal criteria, when somebody matches with this goal criteria, then they would be marked as goal achieved. And these are some of the additional actions that you can take for these people. I can send an email, which means that I can instantly trigger an email to them based on the particular activity that they have performed, which is downloading the checklist. I can also give them a score like what I showed in the previous screen, where once they download a checklist, they can be assigned a score of 10. I can do, I have a variety of actions that I can do. I can update a field, or even I can assign a task to them and say, people are interested in my content. I have a variety of items to do with respect to goal achieved. So what I'm doing here is just quickly giving them a score of say 10 and activating it. So my goal is now, and as soon as people start downloading my checklist, all of these actions will be tracked, and in the overall report, you will actually know how many people are goal achievers, which means how many people have visited the homepage of Zilker and how many people then went on to download the checklist from the event best practices page. And if these people are leads, as in if these people have already given their information to you, then if that information is present with you, and it automatically lists as leads, and your lead email addresses will be listed in this section. So your web behavioral marketing becomes very simple in this case. So similar to what you saw as goals is what a missed goal is. So as I was telling you during my presentation, as how sometimes you would like to know why people forgot to perform some actions on a website, why people did not specifically take actions or activities on your website is important, because ideally those are the loopholes that we as marketers miss, and it's important to track those places that is not receiving enough attention and try to target those people to make them achieve those missed goals. So a missed goal in Zilker's example could be tracking people who visit the events page and forget to register for their upcoming event, because as I was telling you, the important goal is to get as many registrants as possible. So I can create a missed goal, with saying Zilker event misses, and I can, say people who visits the event page and people who does not perform the action of event, which is registering for the event. So people who go to this page but do not perform this event will be marked as people who miss a particular goal, the goal of not registering for the event. And automatically, the people who match this criteria will be marked as goal missed. And I can also give them additional actions like what I showed you in a goal. You can add them to a list and say people who have missed my goal, or you can send them an instant email that says, hey, you've missed or you've missed registering for our upcoming user conference. And you can tell them why the user conference is important, because Zilker is meaning to get more registrants to their website. So it can be updating a goal in CRM. It could be anything. So in my case, I can choose to send an email instantly as soon as they do not achieve a specific goal, and I can go on to configure the content. And this step is just going to take you through email creation, and then you're set with the miss goal that you always wanted to set. So this is pretty much what a miss goal would let you do. The next important section that we move on to is pop-ups. So pop-ups is, they are the powerful tools that will help you convert these visitors into actual leads. So I was telling you how there is a difference between known visitors and difference between these anonymous visitors. So as marketers, your aim would be to convert more of these anonymous visitors into known visitors by making them submit their email address to you, or by making them engage more with your brand. And that is exactly what a pop-up would let you do. So there are two kinds of pop-ups. One is a sign-up pop-up and one is an engagement pop-up. So the sign-up pop-up, as the name says, is a pop-up that is going to induce the sign-up activity, which means it is going to trigger people to submit their information to you. And as the name says, in case of engagement pop-up is something that is going to help you engage more with your leads or with visitors who land on your website. So let me quickly show you what an engagement pop-up is, and then we'll see how to create the very known sign-up pop-up. So here is the engagement pop-up template design. So let me quickly pick one design for you. This is the pop-up editor. So in case of engagement pop-up, I know that Zilker is coming up with this upcoming conference. So what I'll do is I'll quickly edit the content here and say Zilker user conference is back with lots of interesting updates. And for people who would click book tickets, I'd like to take them to the actual page where the registration happens. So this is the register now page, and this is the exact page that I want people to go as soon as they click the pop-up that is coming up on my homepage. So I click here and I say this is the page. And as soon as I make edits to the different content and the different elements in this pop-up form, I can click save and proceed. So this pop-up is completely customizable right from the image that is present here to the CTA that is given here, color or font or content. You could change anything according to however you want it to look, and click save and proceed. I think it's taking a little time to save. So until then, let me quickly, tell you about what a sign-up pop-up is. So in case of an engagement pop-up, you saw that it is more to do with making people engage more with your brand. So in case of sign-up pop-up, it is going to be, an email collection pop-up where it is going to help people sign up to your brand by submitting their contact details like name or address. So in my case, I have the pop-up triggered on entry. So if I want to change that setup, I can just go back to the setup tab and I can choose when I want this pop-up to be visible on the screen. Is it on entry, or is it going to be on exit, or is it based on a scroll? So after maybe 5% or 10% of the scroll on the page, whenever I want, this particular pop-up can be triggered accordingly. So in my case, I wanted to get triggered at the time of exit. So I say exit and I say bottom right. I can also change it to top. Wherever the position I want, I can just change it from the drop down. So as for the animation, I can decide the kind of animation that I would want to give. So I'm giving slides from top. And this is an important section for you to know. Upon rejection, when should the specific pop-up be shown to the same person? So see, this is an important section I say is because for a person to constantly seeing your messages even after closing the pop-up is sort of annoying and irritating. And as marketers, you're not supposed to do that. So here we've given you the complete control to determine when the person who closes your pop-up should see your pop-up the next time. Matter of few hours or a matter of few days, but ideally it should only be after a specific period of time and not immediately because, it is not the right way to target somebody with constant pop-ups even upon closing. So I just click save and next step is going to be scheduling this pop-up. But before that, I should select the pages. So this is the message that is telling me to select the pages. So I go and I select the pages on which I want this pop-up to occur. Is it going to be all the pages or is it going to be specific pages? In my case, I say maybe a specific page and I select the customers page. So people who come to my customers should ideally see this information about this upcoming user conference and register for the conference through the pop-up directly. And I'm planning to show this to my visitors, both the known and the anonymous visitors. And I click save. So the pages are selected now. The next step is going to be scheduling this. So I schedule maybe a specific time where it means the pop-up runs from one specific time to another specific time, which is spanning across days, weeks, or months. In my case, I just say always because as soon as I click save and I activate the pop-up, I want it to run the whole while. So I just say save and I click activate. So now my pop-up is activated and I can click on as soon as people start registering or people start clicking on my on the button that is there in my pop-up and they start registering for the event, all the views and all the bounces, that is people who have just closed my pop-up without engaging. All of this data is available on the dashboard for you. So at any time you can come back to see how your pop-up is. In case of a sign-up pop-up. A sign-up pop-up is similar to an engagement pop-up with just a small difference that it has the element of contact information being collected. So the process is similar to that of an engagement pop-up. The setting up process is similar, just that the design template is quite different because as the name says, sign up lets you collect their email addresses. This is a very powerful tool for you to convert those website visitors into proper leads by getting their information. So let's then move on to seeing what the last section or the section about purchase abandonment is. So as I was telling you, purchase abandonment is an important section on your website because it is actually tracking the amount of sales that is happening with respect. So as of purchase abandonment, there are two types. One is the site abandonment and the other is the cart abandonment. There are certain brands that have this cart setup where people can add the products, people can add products to the cart and check out from the cart and make payments and purchase the product. So that is the cart abandonment process where there is a typical cart and people add products to the cart and you actually track if people are completing the purchase. In case of site abandonment, it is the appearance of say a thank you page. So let us take Zilka's example. So what Zilka does is, as soon as somebody signs up for their user conference, they take them to a thank you page. And rather than a cart setup, they are having a page setup where their website is going to show them at once they register. So site abandonment is when somebody who tries to initiate the process, but who do not land on the thank you page and who have not completed the process that they have started, the purchase process that they have started. That is in the case of site abandonment, and cart abandonment is where you have the typical cart structure. So in case of cart abandonment, an additional step that we might have to do is call an API to send us information about what kind of products your the visitors who land on your website actually add on the cart, and what kind of products of yours they add and when and who's adding. So we need this information in order to help you trigger messages, help you trigger relevant messages to retarget these purchase people. So there is a small API which needs to be, which needs to be called in order for us to get the information about the products that are added and about whether it's checked out from the cart or not. So that can be done upon going to this section where once I call an API, I should set up a purchase abandonment flow. I can do as here. So I say welcome purchase abandonment, and my thank you page is going to be this, where this is the page that is going to be shown as soon as somebody checks out of the website, as soon as somebody completes the purchase after checking all the items out of the cart. And what is the maximum time that I want to make people spend on the cart? Is it 30 minutes? So beyond 30 minutes, if I find, if there are products that are going to be still there on the cart, then automatically you can set up trigger actions from inside Marketing Hub to those people. They exceed this 30 minutes, they'll automatically be marked as abandoned. And as you see in a goal or a missed goal, you can set up additional actions for them in order for them to, to nudge and to, help them complete their purchase process. It could be an email, or it could be adding them to a separate list, or it could be assigning them a tag that says, abandoned. It could be anything. You can just define this particular purchase abandonment flow and click activate, and this is going to be activated. So as soon as somebody adds their products, as soon as somebody adds, say, Zilka's products to the cart and do not perform any action and keep these products in the cart for 30 minutes, it means that beyond the 30 minutes, automatically the flow that is given here would be triggered. So this is pretty much how you can gather a lot of data from your website using web behavioral marketing from Marketing Hub. The last section that we'll be seeing for today is how to use all of these data that you have so far collected into engagement flows, and that is exactly what journeys will let you do. So in case of journeys, you can create a pre-designed journey that we have given you specifically for web engagement. This is something that I showed you during the time of presentation. Quickly take you through each of these and tell you what exactly it's useful for. In case of page visit follow-up, as the name says, as soon as somebody visits your specific page, that becomes a trigger, and you can set up specific messages, nurturing messages to them based on which page they visited on your website. So here we've given you step-by-step action on what each of this message is concerned about, so that you do not have to get confused at any level, and you can seamlessly create a journey for any trigger page that you set on top as a trigger. Let's move on to seeing what is a goal achievement journey. So far you've seen how to set up different goals and list goals. So now we'll see how to actually put that information into proper use when it comes to engagement. So as soon as a goal is achieved, you add that goal as a trigger. And say, for example, your goal is going to be somebody registering for a demo on your page. So automatically you're updating a feed and you're setting up a couple of nurturing messages for them until the demo process is completed for them. And then you're moving them to another journey. This is a sample example that we have given. You can pick this template and use it as it is, or you can make tweaks to it according to what kind of engagement journey you want to build for your specific web audience. So similar case is with missed goal journey, where your missed goal becomes the trigger, and you can set up a couple of relevant messages for people who have missed performing some actions on your website, and you can qualify them by assigning codes and by assigning tags. So this is pretty much what we have already given as for web engagement. Apart from this, you can also create blank journeys, which means you can create a journey from scratch. Let me quickly show you some examples of such journeys we have built for Zilka. So in case of Zilka, we saw that Zilka has this event that is coming up, and a lot of people for the event. So this is the exact event journey that Zilka has built for the people who have registered as registrants for the event. So as soon as somebody enter through the goal that is being set for the event stage, or as soon as somebody signs up for the event through a pop-up form, automatically a thank you email is triggered. And this email is constantly tracked to see how many of them have opened and how many of them have kept this email unopened. For opens, Zilka is trying to qualify these people by assigning a score of say 5. And Zilka is sending the pre-event survey to them for those people to fill before they attend the event. And again, it is tracking how many people have completed the survey. And for survey completion people, it is adding a score of say 10. And for the people who have not taken any action, it is assigning a tag that says unresponsive, so that Zilka can specifically track these people and nurture with them later on because they have not responded now. Likewise, once it has been completed, which Zilker is checking with the condition called event attended contains yes, which means they have attended the event. So as soon as Zilker knows somebody has attended the event, Zilker is sending a post-event feedback email where people take up the survey to express their feedback about the event they've attended. And for people who have not attended the event, Zilker is sending a we missed you email to them. And last, Zilker is trying to end the journey by all of these people as upcoming event leads. So which means it is going to trigger more and more emails about upcoming events to these people because these are the event specific people. So if you would like to add any other end of journey action but not the list, you can just cut the journey that is given there and you can add your own end of journey action, which means even assigning a tag, or it could be adding to a list, or it could be assigning a score and so on. So I can just pull this in and connect it to this section and configure the tag that I want. Say I want a tag called events. I can create a new tag and I can say it's for the event. So please who are interested in events. I select a color and I say create tag. And this tag will be selected. And I can delete this action if I do not want. So it's as simple as this. At any level, you can go and customize based on what kind of trigger or what kind of process elements you want to add to your own journey. Let's quickly take a look at another example of journey. So we were discussing about how Zilker wants more people to download the checklist. So automatically, after somebody downloads a checklist, this is the kind of journey that Zilker wants to trigger. So goal achievement becomes the trigger, and what achieved? Goal achieved is in Zilker's website, it's going to be Zilker checklist. So people who have downloaded the checklist. So for people who have downloaded the checklist, Zilker is sending a thank you for downloading message along with a couple of more resources based on event management. So it is seeing how many people have clicked those resources in the previous email, and as in the previous journey that you saw, Zilker is trying to qualify these people by assigning a score. And for people who do not take any action, it is still unresponsive. And next is it is sending an email that gives them 10 tips for event management. And in this section, again, it is tracking how many people have made use of this by clicking the link and how many people have still kept the email unopened. For these unopened, Zilker is just exiting them from the process. And for people who are constantly showing engagement with Zilker's emails, it's adding them to a final list called Zilker newsletter, where these people will receive further on all the updates pertaining to Zilker newsletter. So as soon as Zilker is setting up this journey, Zilker can activate the journey and the journey will start performing by then. So here Zilker can just select the topic to be user manual downloads because that is exactly what Zilker is doing with respect to checklist. And yes, the journey is active. So as soon as people start entering this journey, all of this data will be reported here where you can see a quick view data here, and to view the detailed report, you can go to the detailed report section and it is going to show how many people enter, how many people exit out of the journey and how many people are still through the journey and so on. So it's going to be as simple as this. So coming back to your website section, now you've set every possible web behavioral action on your website, and the dashboard is the place where you can see all of this being, reflected. So you see the total visits, you see the visitor count on the top panel. As you move below, you can see all of the sources from which you've got your visits from, and this goals or these events that you've created. A time-based report is shown where it is said what events is created when and what goal is achieved when, and a lot of trending sources and the top performing pages. Every bit of your web behavioral marketing data is reflected on Zoho Marketing Hub's dashboard. So which means that you can always take smart decisions, you can always take informed decisions with web behavioral marketing. So if you have a specific marketing scenario for your business, a specific marketing scenario with respect to say web data, and you want us to design journeys, the predefined journeys that you saw inside Marketing Hub, if you want us to design specific journeys for your case, then please do share your scenario. So I'll show you the Twitter page of ours where you can tag us and share your scenario, or you can also send to support@zohomarketinghub.com, or you can feel free to post your scenarios on our community page, Marketing Hub community page. You can also send it as a personal email to me. So if you want us to design a specific journey for your specific marketing scenario or use case, feel free to share your scenario with us. And with that, we are taking up more questions. So if you have any more questions with respect to the webinar or with respect to web behavioral marketing, please post them now. So in the meantime, as you post your questions, let me quickly show you the Twitter page of Zoho Marketing Hub. So as I was telling you, you can tag us using the hashtag Zoho Marketing Hub, or you can tag our profile at the rate of the Marketing Hub, and you can tell us your scenarios, or you can post about this webinar, or you can post any questions you have on social media or on our community page, or as an email to me at aishwarya.a@zohocorp.com, or my Twitter handle, which is aishashok14. So thank you so much for taking your time to attend this webinar to understand what exactly web behavioral marketing could help you achieve. I'm sure and I hope that there are some takeaways from this webinar for you, and I hope to see you all in a similar webinar in the near future. Thank you once again.